Alright, what's up, yins guys? Time for one more episode of my video series where I talk about the real-life Yu-Gi-Oh! Card games that people in the world play. The people in the real world play. And then I also want to, once again, sarcastically say, does anybody play Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore? Do they even sell the cards? Does anybody actually watch reruns of the cartoon? But nonetheless, it's a hell of a good metaphor for how people take legit statements and twist them and modify them to their advantage. So any of you guys late to this series and just happened upon this episode, didn't see any of my other episodes yet, that's what the bottom line of this whole series is, whether you like it or not. It's about statements that actually are legit for certain situations, but people twist them, modify them for their own advantage. Usually by people that always want to start shit. And today's episode is about the take responsibility card. And the legit version of the take responsibility card, aside from the bullshit way that somebody wants to start shit and starts talking down to you, there's the legit part. I think Dr. Phil talks a lot about that. Once again, I'll make a sarcasm just like I did in some of my other videos. The people that want to start shit, obviously, the people that start the shit with you and misuse this card, they think they maybe even know more than Dr. Phil. Maybe they ought to kick him off of his TV show and just take over. And they're usually somebody that, they can be somebody just like you, fancy themselves as some kind of authority over you by the way they talk down on you. Some of them ain't. There's the pseudo-evangelist that doesn't even have a legit, what do you call it? Well, you can argue the actual license to be an evangelist, like the studies, the legit studies, you know. It's just, you can argue that part of it as being just like in college, in a secular college, taught to repeat what you're told according to a textbook or a scripture, so that you act like you're smarter than somebody else. And then thus, once you get the actually legit certificate, it gives you the right to write books and change the whole fucking textbook. You know, just like somebody that, you know, it's the same. There's like a well, I'm not saying this to bash religion completely. Matter of fact, there's some people that, surprisingly enough, on a lot of my other videos that actually are Christians and saying I'm speaking up against stuff that is of the devil and a lot of stuff, and I'm actually speaking up and not actually calling me the devil, but I'm slightly flattered because there's a lot of people with views out there. But anyway, yeah, usually the people that talk down to you, it can be former bosses or foremen, you know, there's always some kind of shit somebody will start stemming from some asshole in a clique somewhere, and then you gotta shrug it off afterwards. But there's a version, an aspect that we had to deal with of the, you need to take responsibility, which was a double standard. Well, so-and-so, because of who he's related to, gets away with, you know, murder or whatever, but yet they'll talk down to you. But there's a translation to that taking responsibility that's a hidden or not so hidden translation that actually, what they mean is, when they say take responsibility, what they mean is lay down and take it. Sit there and let people talk down to you and lay down and take it, so to speak. You know, whether or not it leads to physical. If it led to physical, you're literally expected to lay down and take it. You know, it's like they have some kind of, you're beneath them somehow. You don't kiss their ass, and somehow they're morally and psychologically superior to you, and you're somehow some kind of delinquent, morally and psychologically deranged. But anyway, the legit version, jumping back to the legit version of this, take responsibility thing is, yeah, you see it on some TV and maybe Dr. Phil, but there's always some asshole where the overuse of drugs, alcohol, just being an asshole, and always getting himself in trouble. Well, I actually always, he said too, that rather than be like that, my thing is my stepdad, even though sometimes he was an asshole and sometimes I liked him, he taught me right in a way where more bees with honey than with vinegar. Or, yeah, and I modified it to say there's a time to use honey and there's a time to use vinegar too. So, but the reason why I say that about what my stepdad said is there's people that do not know the concept of more bees with honey than with vinegar. They do stupid shit and draw the attention to themselves and bring it on themselves. Or if they have some legit valid proof that somebody else is fucking with them, they have a tendency to shoot themselves in the foot, fuck themselves over, or instead of just thinking, they just play right into the hands of the enemy. Or you get to somebody that's just a total asshole and never learns his lesson because he got people related to him that's coddle him all the time, you know, that they can be a grown-ass man or grown-ass woman and their mama is always, maybe he's never wrong, or you get the cute one that was always, they always, you know, the chicks dig them, they fuck their lives up different ways. They got really arrogant and spoiled and greedy and self-indulgent and self-centered and screwed over even their friends some kind of way, but still they were the cute ones, so people kept making excuses for them because of who they are, who their friends are, and who they're related to, make excuses for them. And meanwhile, anybody else has to take responsibility, but the person that was the cute one, that had friends or their relatives or parents, respectable parents with respectable pull and ties, socially, respectable socially. Oh, those people that fuck up constantly never have to take responsibility. There's always an excuse and they'll blame somebody else and shift it on somebody else. And those ones that shift everything on somebody else will accuse somebody else of shifting the blame on somebody else. There's like a double standard here, you know what I mean? Like, say if you or me were dumb enough to fuck up some kind of way, we gotta take responsibility, and they never let us forget it, but there's always the cute one, the one that is related so-and-so. That's where the game has a double standard, where it gets modified. And to end this all off, if you're still here in this video, why they play those games is, yeah, some other asshole somewhere that don't have to follow the take responsibility rule, they always fuck up, and usually somebody will start shit with you because they're jealous, because they want to knock you down a notch because their friend or their relative fucked up, and they give you these dirty ass looks, maybe because, oh, maybe you look like you're a little bit better off than them, you know what I mean? Even though you can be called an asshole, a smug asshole, you're better off than them. And they hate you with every fiber of their existence because they gotta find a way that you have to take responsibility some damn how. But then you go, oh, why is that? Man, I don't have a criminal record, but yet maybe a couple of your people, relatives, got this criminal record, and you and certain people are always coddling them and enabling them. So it's actually, depending on where you live and what kind of assholes around you, it can be like a way that somebody else wants to conveniently knock you down a notch to feel better about themselves, or to make the people they were coddling and that they waste their time and resources on look better. They want to knock you down a notch instead of just admitting that every resource that they invested in, time they invested in, you know, they end up looking stupid. Instead of just Instead of just cutting them, whoever it is loose, you know what I mean? Instead of cutting their people loose that they want to knock you down a notch, you know, because you're making them look bad. They don't want to ever admit that it was a lost cause, because sometimes it is. Instead of just admitting it, you know, they want to make a low life out of someone else. You know what I mean? And people like me and maybe a few of you guys out there are a little bit smarter than that, and they hate it. They hate it with every fiber of their existence. Make no mistake about it. But it's a twisted version of somebody else didn't have to take responsibility, but then you always have to take responsibility. The only reason you got to take responsibility is somebody wants to talk down to you, and take responsibility actually means lay down and take it. You know, somebody lay down and take somebody else's shit. It's not what the legit term is supposed to mean. It's just a power trip statement, a misused power trip statement. You know what I'm saying?